see some sugar that I wanna taste. Purple heart candy, she's amazing grace. I can tell you one thing that I know. She bad, she bad, she bad. I see some sugar that I wanna taste. Purple heart candy, she's amazing grace. I can tell you one thing that I know. She bad, she bad, she bad. I like the stylish clothes you wear, head to toe, you be rocking the latest.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy Ashley Lovechild, singer songwriter for HighRollerMusic, OneUnitedVoice. And I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, born and raised. I was born in Brookdale Hospital, and I grew up in two different places. I grew up in Lenox Road, between Ocean and Rogers. And my mother, she had also me and my brother. We was also on Troy Avenue between Church and 45th. You know, growing up in both places was great. You know, had a great childhood, and since I was young, I was always introduced to music, but I never took it serious. But it's amazing that the things that you pick up, you know, because it's a part of your everyday life. My father was a musician, and growing up, he had a full-blown studio in the next room, and I never really took advantage of it. I was always concerned with playing football and basketball, so it's just amazing what you pick up on in sounds, in writing, in instruments, without even realize you're paying attention. It's just a part of your everyday life. Man, growing up in Brooklyn was just like the best. The summer times was even better, and you know, we had a great time. Me and my oldest brother, Miles Johnson. You know, he passed away, and you know, it's just one of them things where, you know, life doesn't prepare you for it, but you have to go with the punches. But you know, we had a great childhood and upbringing. We wasn't nowhere near rich or wealthy or had money or anything like that. Both of our parents worked. We got the things that we needed, some of the things that we wanted, and you know, we didn't know if we was rich or poor or anything, but you know, there was a lot of times where money was tight, and but we was grateful for having each other, because our parents did a great job in us not knowing whether we was rich or not rich. It's just, we just understood certain things we could get and certain things we couldn't get, and that was just an understanding, and we understood it. As kids, you always going to want what you want and things like that, but you know, that's just their life. And you know, my parents worked extremely hard, and to give me and my brother a better life. So when my parents split, my father, you know, he was on Lenox Road, and my mother was on Church Avenue. So it was cool going to both places, because you get two set of friends, and everybody's into the same thing. Growing up, no matter where I was at, it was always sports around me. I love sports, and I grew up in it, and we excelled at it as kids, and growing up and being able to play high school and college, and trying out for the NFL. So these are the things that you know, we did on a regular basis. That was just our natural ability, and then going able to keep it going as much as we can. Up until college is when I realized I didn't want to play football no more. I really wanted to get into music, and it just kept calling me. It's just every song that I thought was great coming on the radio at that time, I just loved everything, and I said, man, I think I could really do this, and then I've been doing it ever since. And this was in 2005, but I didn't really get started until 2008. So it was, you know, a couple year difference, but you know, that was my transaction to becoming an artist, making up my mind as a student and saying, you know, 2005, 2006, I'm really going to do this. And I made my way to the studio in 2007, and in 2008 I released the album called The Other Side. man, that was special because I released that album on the internet. I had hard copies, so I hit the streets, and I sold over 3,000 copies in the streets, combined with the sales online as well. So I was extremely proud of myself. I sat and wrote all my songs. I wrote about 30 songs. 19 made the album. Um, the album is a good album. It's a work in progress for myself. When I hear it, I'm like, oh Lord, you know, hear what I started and now where I'm at. You know, technically you listen to it and be like, oh man, I could have did that better, and I could have did that better, or I should have did this with that song. I should have rapped on that, or I should have sung on that, or whatever. And when you hear it, it's like, oh man, I could have did so much better. But I'm so grateful that I have a foundation that I could compare it to, and that lets you know about my growth, or any type of growth, is when you could look back at your past work and see all the errors you made, and it was a finished product. You're like, that wasn't finished, you know, compared to what you do now. So it's fun to look back on it. I love keeping it up on the internet because I like people to see the growth on where I started and where I'm at today. So in a way, I kind of feel like a 6th-round pick, like Tom Brady going in the 6th round and feeling like I'm a franchise player, and all I got to do is prove it to myself every day, and little by little, the mutual respect, you know, the fans respect and love exactly what the music is supposed to be. So I kind of think like that, and you know, why not think to be great? Why not dare to be great? You know, why not push the envelope? Why not give images and songs that is going to give you a real feeling and evoke the real emotion? And I think it's great. I have fun with this, and I love it. I went to Fort Hamilton High School. I went there and I played football and basketball, 2-sport athlete. I even could have been a 3-sport athlete. But I was very lazy in high school. Even though I did pretty well in both sports, I still was very lazy. I just wanted to play the game. I hated practice. Anything about practice, I just didn't understand that. You know, I didn't like to practice at all. I just want to show up to the game and do what I came to do at that school, and that's to play. I got hurt my senior year, so it's kind of weird when you go on, you know, 3 years of doing well on the field, and you get hurt your senior year, and people kind of forget what you can do because they haven't seen you in a while. But you know, life is growth. I still was able to go on to college and play college football, and I'm blessed about that. I'm thankful for that. And I was still able to get my education, which is the biggest thing. The best times growing up, the best times growing up was just playing sports. You know, getting all my friends together, and we'll play on the block all day long. And I'm telling you, from sun up to sundown, we will play sports all day long, whether it was football, whether it was basketball, whether it was baseball. We did all kinds of stuff, man. I remember instead of going to the park, because the park was kind of far from our particular block, so what we did, we got 2 crates, and we put them on 2 ends of the of the narrow area of the block. They in basketball court distance, but instead of having goal to goal, it's goal to goal, but it's on the side of the fence. Now mind you, the fence is on the same side. It's not in the middle anywhere. It's on the same side. So we ran out full court and still had to shoot them crates on the same side as them tall fence that we had. We had real tall fences on our block at that time, and we would put them as high as we can, try to dunk on it, and we would literally play a full court. Sometimes it wouldn't even be a 5-on-5. It would be like a 6-on-6, 7-on-7, because everybody wanted to play and nobody wanted to wait. But it was the best, the most fun we had, and that actually made us better athletes as well too, because if you're playing with more guys than you're supposed to, and you get on a real court, you have more room on a real court, and you have less play, so it makes it easier to score and rebound and things like that. And you talk about football, we used to have one of them NFL team balls, and it was like the absolute best, because you had the 49ers, you had the Cowboys, you had the Giants, you had all these different type of footballs, and they was making them. And anytime we cracked out a new one, it was like new life. And we used to battle playing football. I mean, those are like the best times of our childhood. And anytime that me and my brother got to spend time with my dad or my mom, those were great times too, because all we did was laugh most of the time. I was probably somewhere whining, and my brother was probably somewhere upset that I was whining about something, and my mother would crack a joke, or my dad would crack a joke, depending on where we was at. But either way, it was a great childhood, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. I learned a lot, and there's even lessons to this day that you learn as a child too. So, man, it's crazy. My very first studio session was with a gentleman by the name of Triple X. He runs Triple X Studios down the Lower East Side, Manhattan, and that was my very first studio session. That was for me. Any other time I went to the studio, it was with someone else, for someone else, and I don't think you could get much done when you go with somebody else, for somebody else. You learn more than anything. But that was my first studio session. That was just for me, is when I met him, and we started recording the other side of his studio. And I learned a lot in that whole experience. But that was my very first time in the studio. My very first show, man, it was crazy. I had butterflies, man. I had butterflies. My very first show, I even got paid. My very first show, it was at the 179th Street bar, and I think that's in Manhattan, but it's like by Broadway. It was like on Broadway, and I got paid for that show. That was great, and I really gave it my all that show. I was nervous. Oh man, I had the. You ain't never been scared until you've had to go on stage in front of a whole bunch of people you don't know, or you think that you don't know. They may know you, but you don't know them. And having to perform your songs, and they said you got a 45-minute set. Now for most artists that's a great thing, but for my very first time I was like, I gotta be up there 45 minutes. Wow, how am I gonna do this? So it was like the funniest thing ever. All my friends and family came out, and we actually had a ball. It was a great show, and I had a couple of my boys doing some background singing, and I had a couple of more artists come and perform with me. It was great, but I was so nervous. I even messed up one of my artists' name, and it was so funny because I was so nervous. And when you're on stage, it's like you have to be perfect on everything you say, how you say it. You got to be cool, you got to be on point, and every little thing counts. So when you mess up, it's either you show the crowd you didn't mess up, or you just mess all the way up. And I could tell you at least We performed, I would say, 6 or 7 songs that night, and it felt like forever. And at least 3 songs, 3 songs, I messed up the lyrics on at least 3 songs, but but nobody knew because I was I was I freestyled what I was saying, but I was so nervous that I forgot the words. And when I forgot the words, I couldn't show people I was nervous. I couldn't show people I was messing up. So I freestyled it, and I don't think no one noticed. Maybe except for my mom. She was like my biggest critic, but other than that, I don't think anybody noticed. Everybody was in there having a great time. Fans, I've gained fans that night. People that I didn't think knew me was dancing. I mean, they was really dancing, and it really made me feel good. And some of the people outside of my friends and family knew the words, so it was like, wow, I might be onto something here. So that was an amazing feeling, amazing feeling. Shout out to 179th Street Bar, and that was just an amazing feeling, man. My first meeting that I ever had, I don't like talking about certain labels because I don't like burning bridges, but the deal that they offered was not correct. It wasn't a friendly offer for artists. It was like one of them contracts where it was just like, look, this is what it is, and you may be able to get a cheese on your cheeseburger, but me being able to grow up in music because my father, he was an artist, back in the day, and he worked with countless of groups and things like that. He done production for legends and things, and like I said, not knowing that I was going to be in the business, I still learned a lot just by being around it. And I just knew it was a bad deal. So as of now, I love being independent. HighRollerMusic. We also combined it with another label, and this all a part of OneUnitedVoice. OneUnitedVoice is HighRollerMusic. It's also Rich Before Fame, RBF. Shout out to them. So um, this is a wonderful thing. Independently, people thought I was crazy by staying independent, but independently, I've been able to sell quite a few albums, and I've been able to reap the benefits from the sales and the albums. So that's been a major thing for me. Um, and some people will look at it, well, if you're independent, wouldn't it be easier for you to sign with a major? They'll give you the money. And every you don't get something for nothing. Nothing is free in this world. The music business is not free. And I look at it like this, because this is how it goes. I'd rather sell 4,500 copies of my album for $10 a piece, own my rights, own my mastering, own my merchandise, own my content, control of my content, when I want to release it, how I want to release it. I have deals with Cablevision, MTV, well, I should say Viacom. So it's very, and I've have all my own social media sites, and you have the blogs already. So it's very hard to tell me as an artist who's gaining my fan base to that next level on how you're going to present my music when I have each outlet. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. That's a work in progress. It's very hard for a label to come in and say, hey, this is what we can do. So I'm very proud of it. I'm on the radio, so I'm very proud of that. But it's very hard to tell an artist, all you gotta, like, for a major artist, he has to sell a lot of albums to see my cut and the type of money that's being made. So, I like being independent. Um, but I'm also a businessman as well. If there's a major that presents the right offer, who knows? But one thing I won't do, whatever I do as far as signing or remaining to be a major independent artist, I'm gonna give you great music. That either way, it's not gonna be lack. It's gonna be great music either way. So, and I'm not one of them kind of artists that's gonna look for the feature from the hot person. I don't work like that. If a song don't fit you, then I'm not gonna reach out to ask you to get on this record with me. So I don't work like that. All my songs fit me. And if I feel like somebody could be in pocket, I may reach out or I may not. More likely I won't. But if somebody's doing a song with me because I feel like whatever they bring to the record, their sound is coinciding with what I'm already doing. So being able to build a label from ground up is very hard. Like people, they make a name, they get a logo, and they think that's it. No, you know what I'm saying? You actually got to put in work. This is work, you know. But whatever you do, get the right people that you could work with, whether it's a videographer, somebody that deals with clothes and imaging, somebody that knows how to promote virally on the internet, somebody that knows how to promote, um, on TV and getting your music videos into the right places on TV and being able to get on the radio is those things are hard to do, all three of those things. So you got to get the right people that have the same passion and drive as you, that want to see that dream come to fruition. So, you know, building a label is very hard because finding the people to help you build your label is very hard. But it's a beautiful thing when you get people and to see that dream and that vision come true. It's a feeling like no other. It really is. And you grow more than just workers. You grow as a family. So it's real dope.